Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to last class of the week and our review for test number 1. I hope you guys are doing well, and I need to make sure you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up emoji or something. Don't be shy. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Relative to test 1. First thing is, you don't have class on Monday, don't bother coming. The second thing is, well, once again,
Okay.
the test will be administered on Monday. It will be administered online through Hawks. Okay. What that means is you have to make sure that Hawks is activated. Chances are your temporary access expired on Wednesday. Okay. So you need to make sure that you have it activated. That means purchasing the product. As of this morning, there are 10 people in this 30-person class that do not have that whose Hawks is deactivated. So there's a couple of things you need to do. First one is if you're on scholarship, whatever, or if you have had financial aid, whatever money was in the bookstore account, it's gone. It went back to the business office. So you have to work with the business office to purchase the courseware. Okay, once you've done that, you have to go into your digital bookshelf to find the license number and then put that in and then put that into Hawks. If you do not have financial aid, what you want to do is buy it directly from Hawks. It will save you some money. All right, but I will tell you right now, no, having
No, you got.
having Hawks deactivated is not is not an excuse for not being able to take this test. If you are not prepared to take the exam, both academically or logistically, you are going to take a hit. Okay, moving on. The test will open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it will close at 11:55 p.m. You can start the test anytime you want. All right. But once you start it, you have 50 minutes. 50 minutes to complete it, one class period. Having said that, I would encourage you not to start the test at, say, 11:30. Why? Because the test is going to shut down at 11:55. I'm only giving you 25 minutes, so don't do that. That would be bad. The test has 12 questions. It is a closed notes, closed book test. You are encouraged to you are allowed to have one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, okay, as a cheat sheet. Now, one of the things you might be asking is, well, how the hell can I enforce this? The answer is I can't. I have to trust you guys to do what I expect you to do. And if you do, I appreciate that. If you don't, I would once again, strongly encourage you to not compromise your integrity. That's really the only thing that you have that is purely yours. There is one thing I need to mention about the cheat sheets, and I don't believe I have that set up yet, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, I need to get into Canvas. Make sure it's there. And it is not. Okay, 1 second. This should not take me too long to do this. Modules. Copy to you guys, copy. All right, let me go back to make sure it's there. Okay, so this right here is your Canvas page for the course. If you go in the modules, not syllabus, but modules. You go down to it's not there yet. Actually, I have to stop the U for a second. There it is. I know I should have done this earlier. Okay. Okay. So now I can go ahead and go to modules. First, that may be you guys again. Student view. So this is pretty much where you would started. Go to modules. Go down to here. You'll see test prep, test one formula sheet. This right here is something that you might want to consider using for your cheat sheet. For example, notice here that it has all the formulas that you might encounter for those formula problems. So what you could do is you could actually print this out, download it, print it out. And then you could also, like for example, here we have the formula I equals PRT, and if you have a simple interest formula, you need to rearrange this in part 2 for P, which would be P is equal to I over RT. You can actually look, you can actually write that out on here. For example, you could actually write this out in terms of F on here or S here, and that is what you can use as a guide for your test. Okay, so you could use this side for 3.1, and then you could use the other side after you print out for anything else you think you might need. So I might encourage you to actually print that out and use this as a guide. Can I actually write? I don't think I can write on here, can I? No, I can't. Okay. So I wanted to throw that out there. Okay, now for the rest of this. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that that I'm going to cover some problems that I think I will serve you well. So if you think about it, I've taken your 30 question practice test. Out of that 30 question practice test, I came up with 12 problems. Okay, I know what those problems are. So I'm going to do problems that I think will help you. And I will just simply say, at the risk of sounding little boastful or presumptive, one thing I don't do is I don't review problems that I know you're not going to look at. Okay, that I know are not going to be important for you to know. Okay, these problems will serve you well. Trust me. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go work on some problems. Now, the first set of problems that I want to work on are going to come from section 3.4, since I did such a fine job on that before. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at a couple 3.4 problems. And once again, I'm going to do that in the interface. That way we can be comfortable with how the interface works. Okay, I'm going to do two. Not going to do that one. That one's too simple. That one's too simple. Oh wait, skip. I don't want to do something. I want to skip. Let's do this one. Okay, so here we have 4. Now you guys can see the screen, right? All right. Here we have 4x, negative 4x plus 5.7 is less than or equal to 0.3 minus x. Let me go ahead and write that down. First, I can make you smaller, making you bigger. I need more space to write. So, okay, so we have negative 4x plus 5.7, there's supposed to be a point there, is less than or equal to 0.3 minus x. Now notice there's nothing to simplify, no like terms at all. All right, so one thing I can do is, so what I want to do is I want to use addition to move terms around, but I want to do it in such a way that my coefficient is positive. That way I don't have to deal with flipping the inequality symbol or any kind of stuff like that. So I'm going to add, I'm going to add the term or subtract out the term with the smallest coefficient, and negative 4 is less than -1, so I'm going to subtract out -4x, which is the same thing as adding 4x over here. What I do on one side, got to do on the other side. Okay, these cancel. I have 5.7 is less than or equal to 0.3 plus -x plus 4, 3x. All right, next I need to move this. So I need to get this constant term over there. So just subtract that term out, 0.3 minus 0.3. It's not what I was expecting, but whatever. Okay, this will become 5.4 is less than or equal to 3x. And notice I don't have to deal with switching this because I made sure that was positive. Okay, finally, divide both sides by 3. These will cancel. I have x. And over here, 5.4 divided by 3, I'm pretty sure that's 0.6. Let's just find out. Clear. 5.4 divided by 3. Huh, I was wrong. Big shock there, right? 1.8. 1.8, which is probably why you should use a calculator and not guess. All right, so there we go. X is less than or equal to 1.8. I'm actually wondering if it will take it that way. Let's find out. 1.8. Okay, we're going to have to use our keypad because we have a non-strict inequality less than or equal to x. Yep, it will take that. Okay, and then the next part, of course, is to plot it. So all of your inequalities are going to have problems, going to have this type of a flavor. Now, before you plot it, it might be best to write this in interval notation. So notice here we have 1.8 is less than or equal to x. So x is going to be as small as 1.8 and go as high as infinity. So the smallest number is going to be 1.8. All right. And since I have a non-strict inequality associated with it, I'm going to have a bracket. Largest number is going to be infinity, and we always have a parenthesis with the infinity. Notice that I have a bracket here on the left and a parenthesis on the right. That is the button that we want to choose, the one with the bracket on the left and the parenthesis on the right. The parenthesis goes to infinity. Okay. The bracket goes to 1.8, which is right about there. And submit your answer, and there you go. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, moving on. What else do we want to do? I want to do one compound inequality. Not that one. Well, that's not a compound inequality, so I can't. I think it's one of the last two. Let's do this one. Okay, so here we have -5 is strictly less than -2z plus 1, which is strictly less than 15. Okay, so remember, for compound inequalities, you want to isolate the variable of interest, this bad boy right here. Rats, you're being difficult. There we go. This bad boy right here, but we want to isolate it in the middle. Okay, so we're playing monkey in the middle, and whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side, other two sides. So the first thing we have to do is to get this term by itself, okay? And then we can do that by getting rid of this term. Since that term is a +1, we can get rid of it by subtracting 1. What you do on one side, gotta do on the other two sides. Okay, -5 minus 1, -6, strictly less than -2z, which is going to be strictly less than 15 minus 1, 14. Okay, now we need to divide by the coefficient. Unfortunately here, the coefficient happens to be a negative number, and there's no way you're getting around it in this particular scenario. So I'm going to divide by -2. Since I'm dividing by -2 here, I got to divide by -2 on the other two sides. Okay, now since I'm dividing by a negative number, the direction of the inequalities are going to change. This is going to become greater than. This is going to become greater than. These will cancel. I'm going to have z. Over here, I have -6 divided by -2, that is 3. And over here, I have 14 divided by -2, -7. Now they want the solution in interval notation. This is not interval notation. This is algebraic notation. Okay, so to get this in interval notation, we have to start with the smallest number. This is the smallest number, -7. It's on the wrong side, but that's kind of what happens. That's what happens when you divide by a negative number in a compound inequality. It ends up being on the wrong side. But nonetheless, that's the smallest number, -7. The symbol associated with -7 is a strict inequality, parenthesis. The next number is 3. The symbol associated with that is parenthesis. There you go. So that's what we need to put into Hawks. So you come over here and you type in a parenthesis. Notice it types the other one for you. It can be a little annoying, but don't let that bother you too much. Okay. Then you can type in -7, comma 3. I have a nasty habit of trying to close the parenthesis. Well, didn't want to do that. Trying to close the parenthesis, even though it's already there. And it tends to yell at me. I don't know why it's doing that now, why it's not doing that now. And you can submit your answer and it'll be correct. Now, let's suppose that you have a problem that looks like this. There's no way to do that strictly from the keyboard. What you would need to do is go to the keypad and select one of these. Okay, I just wanted to point that out in case that's a possibility. I don't think it is, but still just to be sure. So, and submit your answer, and there you go. The next part is to graph it. Well, since we already have it in interval notation, I mean, that's a snap, because look, we have, here it is, here's your previous answer, parentheses on both sides. Pick your parenthesis, move that to -7, move right by it, there you go, move this to 3, and you are done. Okay? All right. I have one more thing that I want to do in Hawks that involves section 3.1. So let me get out of here. Let me go to dashboard, find 3.1. Oh, well, that's wrong course. I have to go to, I'll have to view course. If you're looking for your, now for on Monday, your test, it will be here. Okay, it should also be on your dashboard. It should be on your dashboard somewhere around here. If it's not, somewhere around here. If it is not, just hit view course, go to web tests, and you will see it there. But we want to go to 3.1. So let's go to 3.1. There we go. Practice start. And I want to do this problem right here. Okay, now here we have Mike is planning a vacation. Travel agent says the average high temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Oh, let me just point out one thing. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to interrupt me, or you can type something in the chat. I am paying attention to that. Okay, back to here. Mike has a vacation. He's the travel agent says the average high temperature at a resort is 30 degrees Celsius. I mean, it's pretty darn warm. What is the equivalent Fahrenheit temperature? The first thing we need to do is choose the correct formula. Notice we have Celsius, we have Fahrenheit. Now, if you chose to download this sucker, you could look at this and realize that, well, Celsius, Fahrenheit must be this. Not a pro. Cool. So, oh, wrong. So we can go ahead and click on that. All right. Now, the second part is to take that equation, all right, and rearrange it in such a way so that we're solving for the unknown, which happens to be F. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. Now, this is one of those problems where my recommended approach of simplifying, removing grouping symbols, doing addition, then the multiplication is probably not the most efficient way to solve this. You can do it that way. It will work. It'll take a few more steps. However, in this particular case, since I have this coefficient multiplied by this grouping symbol, and that's the only term here, one possible way to do this, or a more efficient way to do this, is to do multiplication first. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 5/9, which is 9/5. Okay, if you do that, these will cancel. Okay, the coefficient here will become 1. Since the coefficient is 1, we no longer need grouping symbols. So you'll just simply have this. Okay, and then over here we will have 9/5 C. And then the last thing you need to do to get F by itself is just add 32 to both sides. Okay, these will cancel. We have F, and over here we have 9/5 C plus 32. Now, what you could do is, if you haven't already, work this out in advance, and wrong one, and write it on this cheat sheet right here. That way, if you're given this problem and you have this information written down, you know how to do parts 1 and parts 2 already. You're done. Okay. So I would encourage you to do that. Now, for example, I can't do that here because I don't have a writing capability. But you could write that. You could write this equation here, probably flipped around like this. You could write S is equal to P over 4 here. You could write W is equal to P minus 2L over 2 for this one, and so forth. Okay, and that way it's there. And that's one less thing you have to worry about. One less stressor. Okay, but anyways, this is the equation. Either one will work. So let me just go ahead and put this one in. Of course, the other thing is making sure you know how to type the stuff in. You can use the keypad. In this case, it would be fraction 9, 5, not that, I was wrong, 9, 5, C plus 32 equals F. And there you go. And then the last part is where you put in the data, or where you put in the known quantities. In this case, the known quantity is C is equal to 30. So then F is going to be equal to 9/5 times 30 plus 32. On our calculator, that will be 9 divided by 5 times 30 plus 32. That's your answer, 86. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, the rest of the problems that I want to work with, I don't need Hawks for. I just need this. Okay, so here is the next one. This one comes from section 2.3b. It's actually one of the harder problems in that particular section. Remember, 2.3b is the kind of problems where we have x plus b is equal to c. Okay, in this one, we have 9.6y minus 8.6y is equal to negative 6.7 plus 7.6. Okay, so notice here we actually have like terms. We actually have stuff that we can simplify. Like terms here, like terms here. Okay, so 9.6y minus 8.6y will conveniently be equal to y. That's how it works in this particular section. All right, and then negative 6.7 plus 7.6, just to play it safe. Negative 6.7 plus 7.6 is 0.9. Okay. Oh, wait a second. I did this problem. I did there. Okay, but that's what we have here. Let me do the problem I was supposed to do. I actually missed something. So let me do another one. Free of charge. 9.6y minus 8.6y. So this is, I mean, this is correct. Okay, I just forgot a certain term here. Plus 1.1 is equal to negative 6.7 plus 7.6. This kind of makes it the problem I wanted to do anyways. So once again, like terms. Okay, this is going to be equal to y. Okay, I now have the plus 1.1. That's going to be equal to 0.9. Okay, now, to isolate y, I need to subtract 1.1 from both sides. These cancel. I will have y is equal to 0.9 minus 1.1, which will be negative 0.2. If you're not sure, 0.9 minus 1.1, that's not it. 0.9 minus 1.1, negative 0.2. Okay, so there's your answer. And of course, if you check it, hopefully you'll get the exact same thing. All right. Next problem is this. This one involves a fraction. We have negative 6 over 5 times, that's supposed to be a 5, by the way, sorry about that. 5 times u is equal to negative 6. All right. Now, so what we need to do is make this be, we need to do multiplication or division, so this coefficient is equal to 1. And there's two ways, there's two ways, there's two approaches that you can use depending upon what we have as a coefficient. If the coefficient is an integer, like you have 6u is equal to 36, just divide by that integer. If the coefficient is a decimal, 6.1u is equal to 36, divide by the decimal. If it is an integer, like 3/2 u is equal to 7, multiply both sides by its reciprocal. Okay, multiply this by 2/3 and this by 2/3. So when you think fractions, think reciprocals. Okay. If you do, these will cancel. You'll have u is equal to 2 times 7, which is 14 divided by 3. Okay, so here I want to multiply by the reciprocal of negative 6/5. The reciprocal of negative 6/5 is going to be, we have to include the negative sign, negative 5 divided by 6. If I'm multiplying by negative 5, 6 here, I need to multiply by negative 5, 6 here. Okay, these will, if you don't include the sum, if you don't include the sign, then this will basically multiply to negative 1. If you include the sign, this becomes 1, and you have u. Over here, a lot of you can realize that this, a lot of you might realize that this is going to be equal to 5. If you're not sure, this is what you can do. Negative 6 times negative 5, 6. Negative 5 divided by 6. And you get 5. Okay? So that's how you that's how you can actually compute that. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, 4 more. This was basically 2.3c, a hard 2.3c. This one is 2.4. And actually, I only have 2 problems left. So this one is negative 7u plus 5 is equal to negative 15. Now for this one, what we want to do is, remember, we're isolating u, okay? We don't have anything to simplify, but we need to use addition to move this term over here. Since I have an extra, so since I have this term without a u in it, I need to get rid of it. I can get rid of it by subtracting it out. Okay, what I do on one side, gotta do on the other side. All right, these cancel. I have negative 7u. That is going to be equal to negative 20. Okay, now I need to get rid of that coefficient, and since it's an integer, I can just go ahead and divide by that coefficient, negative 7u. Make sure you include, no, negative 7, don't include the u. Then I'll have negative 7 over here. Okay, negative 7 over here. These will cancel. We'll have u is equal to negative 20 divided by negative 7. So I have a fraction. I need to make sure that's a reduced fraction. The fact of the matter is, it actually is. It's going to be 20 divided by 7. It has no common factors. What if you're not sure? Negative 20 divided by negative 7 gives me that. Click this button right here. Second fraction to decimal. Hit enter. That's your answer. That is your reduced fraction. That is how you can reduce fractions using your calculator. Okay? And, well, I hate to break this to you guys because I know you guys want to hang out with me as long as you possibly can. Yeah, sure you do. This is my last example problem. It's from 2.5. It is 3 times the quantity 3y plus 2 is equal to 3y plus 18. Now, in this particular case, we have things we want to simplify. We have grouping symbols that we need to get rid of. So the first we need to do is distribute. Okay, they want to do that. Okay, so here we have 3 times 3y, so 9y, plus 3 times 2, that is 6. That's going to be equal to 3y plus 18. Do we need to combine like terms? No, there are no terms on either side of the equation that have the exact same variable and the exact same exponent. So now we just need to isolate the y terms. Okay, so we want to use addition to get all the terms with the variable on it on one side. Which side? Probably the side that will keep the coefficient positive. So we want to basically subtract out the term with the smallest coefficient, which will be 3y. So I'm going to subtract 3y here. I'm going to subtract 3y here. Okay. These will cancel. 9y minus 3y, 6y plus 6 is equal to 18. Okay, now I want to get this term over there. I can do that by subtracting it out. What you do on one side, have to do on the other side. Okay. These cancel. 18 minus 6 is 12. 6y is equal to 12. And then finally, we use division or multiplication to get rid of that coefficient. That coefficient is a 6. Divide by that coefficient, both sides. These cancel. Y is equal to 2. And that would be your answer. Any questions about that? Okay, before you leave, there was one more thing I want to show you, and that has to deal with the practice test. Exit, well, actually the test in general, but I can only show you with the practice test. So dashboard, course, web test. All right, make it to a question that I want to do, which will be 12A. Okay, here's 12A. It should be a formula problem. Okay, so this is basically a temperature problem. So that will be our answer for part A. And here's the thing. Now, in your homework, you would always have a previous a button which will show you what your previous answer is. Obviously, you don't have that there, but that's okay because what you can do is you can move around. So I can come back to here, remind myself what it was, and then I can come over here and write down F is equal to 9, 5, C plus 32. All right, and then I can come over here, and once again, if I forgot what the formula was, I can go back. Of course, now the only thing is that they will not give you any feedback until you actually submit the test. But nonetheless, if you want to recall what you've done, you can just move around. That's not a problem relative to this exam, and you can visit any problem as often as you would like. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, please let me know. Outside that, I'm done, and you're free to go. I will stay on in case you guys have any questions. I'll have the camera turned off and my mic turned off, but I'll be here. So if you have any questions or want to work with me on something, just basically scream and I'll turn myself back on. Outside that, you guys have a good rest of the day. Make sure you have Hawks activated. If you're having problems particularly maybe finding where the license number is. If you get it from the bookstore, let me know, and I can work with you with that online. Okay, I'm done. I'll shut up now.